Hey, Jim at Classic Catering. We're cooking our seared salmon today with roasted corn salsa. I've got dinner guests coming over in about an hour and 15 minutes, so we got to make it really snappy today. It is 5:46 right now. My oven's preheating and we're going to get started. First thing I'm going to do is I got to get the roasted corn salsa going. So I have an ear of corn that I bought kind of pre-peeled from the store. So we're just going to take the rest of that husk off there. And then with our knife, we're just going to real quickly cut all these kernels off the cob, being careful not to go too deep. So that takes about 4 or 5 cuts. Once that's done, we're going to take this and throw it in our little bowl right here. I don't quite have all my ingredients set out like normal today, but I've got most of them. So I've got my bowl there. Gonna take a little salt and pepper, just like normal. Maybe a teaspoon for that. And a half teaspoon of the pepper. A little squirt of oil. Then we're just gonna give it a quick mix. Spread it out on a tray right here. This is gonna go in the oven for about 15-20 minutes. Until it starts to look golden brown. So this is going in. Then right here in my blender, I've got some sweet barbecue sauce, which I've already put in my Ninja blender. Then we're going to take some of these right here. It's a Chipotle pepper, which is a smoked jalapeno. We're going to put some of those in the blender with the barbecue sauce. And we're just going to blend that up until it's smooth. It's going to give it a nice smoky sweet flavor. And it's going to be delicious on our seared salmon, but it would also be equally good on any kind of other grilled meat like chicken or even like a pork chop. So we're going to put about maybe a quarter cup in there. So it was 2 of the peppers and a little bit of the extra sauce, as you can see that they're packed in. So we're going to give them a little bit of that. You have to experiment with these. I would start out with just a little bit first, and then if you want it more spicy, you can add more, but you don't want to go too heavy at first, because once you put too much in there, then you got problems trying to thin out the heat. So we're going to power this up. It's going to be a little bit noisy for a minute. Alright, so that's done. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to cut our salmon fillet up real quick. I bought this salmon fillet from my local fishmonger. It's a nice fresh center cut. I requested a center cut as opposed to a tail piece so that it's not too thin. So we're going to have some nice uniform pieces here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this little bit of belly fat off. I like to skin my salmon when I cook it. Some people leave it on, but I like to have it completely off. So what we'll do with that, we'll start at the head side, and we're just going to make a little cut, and then we're just going to ride right across the skin, keeping our knife on a bit of an angle. If you can just get a nice tight shot of that, Jenna. A nice little bit of an angle, but not cutting through the skin. And then once you get all the way through, you can see we've got about 99.5% of the meat off the skin. Once that's done, we're going to take these pieces. You can cut straight this way. If you just want to have like something you'd see in a restaurant, you can just cut 3 or 4 pieces out of this. But what I'm actually going to do for this is I'm going to split this in half down the middle. And then I'm going to make a nice angle cut. So we're going to have a lot of little pieces for dinner instead of just one big piece. So this is going to be more like medallions. So I'm going to cut this into, this is about 2, 4, 6, 7 pieces. And this will be the same on this side, 7 pieces. 1, 2, that'll actually be about 4 pieces because it was a lot smaller diameter piece. So the salmon's done. The corn is in the oven. I'm going to take this out to my skillet outside that's heating up, and then we'll finish up after that.
Alright, it's been a couple minutes. I'm going to check the corn that's in the oven. You can see it's got a couple areas where it's just starting to brown up a little bit, and you can hear the sizzle. So we're going to let this go another couple minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and prep this asparagus just like I did yesterday. I've already cut all the ends off so they're the same length, and we're just going to give this a quick peel just like yesterday.
Alright, so that was about 1 minute of peeling. Now what I've got here is I've got my pot of water on the stove that's already been heating up, so I'm just going to take this real quick, plunge that in there, let that get heated up. That's going to cook again for about 2 minutes. While that's doing its thing in there, I'm going to take my little bowl of ice. And we're going to fill this up with cold water. And we're going to let this sit on the side of the stove right here. And then once the asparagus is done, we're just going to plop it right in there and let it cool off until it's time to grill it. Alright, it's been about 20 minutes. My asparagus is on. I've taken my barbecue sauce out of the Ninja blender cup, put it in a nice little bowl. So that's going to sit there on the side. I'm going to check my corn real quick, which should be about ready. So you can see it's got some dark bits around the outside, so that's going to be ready. We're going to take this real quick. I've got a spatula here and my oven mitt. And we're going to take all this and we're going to put this into a different bowl that I had out from earlier. This is actually the same bowl that I tossed it in earlier. So I'm going to take all this out. And we're going to throw that roasted corn right in a nice little bowl like this for mixing. Then, pretty much like any salsa, we're just going to take our ingredients and we're just going to add them to that real quick. So I've got a little bit of green pepper right here. Normally I'd put some tomato in here if I had some, but I didn't want to make a special trip to the store. Then I've got my serrano chili pepper. It's a small amount of corn right there, so I don't want to put a whole lot of this in, at least initially. I can always go back and taste it afterwards, but we're just going to put a tiny bit for now. And I've got a little bit of red onion. So we're just going to give this a little bit of a chop. I don't have a lot of corn there, so I'm just using smaller amounts of everything. Then lastly, I've got some cilantro here. Just like always for my salsas. We're just going to cut some of this nice and thin. So that's all going to go in my bowl. Then I've got a lime that I zested yesterday. I'm not going to put any zest in there today, but I will need about 1/3 of the lime juice in there. So that's going to go in. And then we're going to add a little salt and pepper to that in a little bit. And that'll be the roasted corn salsa for the dish that has the salmon and the spicy barbecue. Alright, this has been on for about 2 minutes, so this is ready to roll. I'm going to plunge that right from the boiling water into our ice bath, which is just ice and water. So that's going to be done. I'm going to set that aside for now, and we're going to go outside and grill our salmon. Alright, we're outside in the backyard again. I've got my skillet from yesterday, which was Monday the 18th, heating up. So we got our salmon here. We're going to drizzle a little bit of oil on this, and then we're going to put our salt and our pepper on there. We're going to give it a good coating. It is going to lose a little bit as it falls off during the cooking process. So we're going to do that. We're going to give it a quick flip. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm not going to oil the backside. We're just going to give it a nice coating. You want your food to be nicely seasoned when you're searing on the grill. So I go pretty heavily on that because it's going to taste delicious. Once I get all this salmon done, we're going to put a little bit of oil on the skillet again, just like yesterday, and we're just going to give it a nice rub down so it's all oiled up. It also gets all the impurities off there that are left from yesterday when we were cooking the Cajun chicken. I'm going to take my salmon. You can hear how nice and hot it is. It's sizzling instantly. So we're going to put all this on here. We got to make sure we get them pretty close together because we have a lot of little medallions today. So we're going to get all these on here. You can already see on some of these it's starting to turn white at the very bottom if you can pan in on that. And then right there you can already see it's got some cooking and some sear to it. Just takes a matter of seconds. So we're going to let that cook for about 1 minute. We're going to transfer it back onto our tray. Then we're going to bring it in the house and pop it in that oven that we cooked the corn salsa in. Alright, we're going to make a quick batch of rice to go with our salmon dish. It's 6:15 right now, so it's been about 29-30 minutes. So we're going to get this going. This will take about 20 minutes. So I'm going to take 2 of the fresh bay leaves. Again, I bought these at Nino Salvaggio's in St. Clair Shores. Always good to have a reliable produce supplier when you're cooking at home. So we've got the 2 bay leaves in there. Then I'm going to take my basmati rice, which is a fragrant soft rice. We're going to cook that today instead of just plain rice. So we're going to take 1 cup of rice, nice and even, not heaping. So there's 1 cup. I'm going to take 2 cups of hot water. There's 1 cup. There's 2 cups. We're going to put this on low on the stove and just let it slowly absorb all that liquid. We're going to add a little bit of the wireless chicken powder. You can use chicken stock to cook with if you like, but I don't like the chicken flavor to be overpowering. I want it to be more of a neutral flavored rice. So we're going to put this on the stove on super low heat with a lid, and we'll come back for that in about 15 minutes. In the meantime, we've got our asparagus right here that's been cooled off. So we're going to take this out with us to the grill. And we're going to go check on our salmon right now. We're outside, we've got our asparagus. I brought some parchment paper to put on the tray that had salmon on it. It's going in the oven, but it's okay to be extra safe with the raw salmon by putting a piece of paper on there. I just don't want to dirty up a lot of trays when I'm cooking at home. So here's my salmon. You can see it's turning white around the edges. It's got a real nice sear to it. So we're just going to continue flipping this. It's going to go for another minute or 2 on here. Then we'll just pop it in the oven for about 2 or 3 minutes. You can see that it's hot, first of all, and it's got a real nice sear on the outside of it. One thing with salmon is I'm not advocating that you eat it medium or medium well, but just make sure you cook it until it's just cooked through so it doesn't dry out on you. So we're going to let that go for a minute, and then we'll cook the asparagus and we'll be ready to roll. Alright, I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're going to let this cook on here. This cast iron is going to stay hot for quite a while. That way I get this asparagus going real quick. So I'm going to give it a quick oil, and then I'm going to give it some kosher salt and cracked pepper just like yesterday. And since this side's already hot, we're just going to plop it right on there. You'll see it smoke up instantly. This is only going to take about 2 minutes or so. We're just going to let the camera roll while that's cooking. Then in the meantime, we're going to take our salmon medallions and we're going to load them onto this tray right here. I'm being very careful that it doesn't overcook because dry salmon is never a good thing. So we've got all these beautiful fillets done. You can see these are falling apart a little bit, and you can tell they're going to be just absolutely delicious. So these are going to go in the oven once we get back in the house. I'm going to give my asparagus a quick flip. You can see it's already going to have some color to it. It's starting to brown a little bit, so we're going to give that one more flip. We're going to let this go for another 30 seconds, and then we'll be good. Alright, we brought everything in. We've got the salmon, the grilled asparagus, the rice right here. It's starting to steam a little bit, and you can see it's at a nice slow simmer. I'm going to turn it down even more so it doesn't evaporate out the liquid too fast, and then we have some rice that's still a little bit on the crunchy side. Here's our Chipotle BBQ sauce. We're going to take some of this, and we're going to put this right on our salmon. We're going to let this cook in the oven to finish up. We're only going to do maybe about half of these because I'm not sure if the fam likes all of the spiciness of this barbecue or not. So we're just going to do maybe about half of these or so. I like to use a spoon for when I do this, but you can use a little pastry brush if you'd like to. So we're going to get this in the oven. The time check is we're at 6:23, so it's been about 36 minutes, 37 minutes. So we're going to let that go for about 5 minutes till the barbecue sauce gets hot all the way through, and then we'll be good. Alright, we're going to do a quick time check before we make our plate real quick. It's 6:34, so it's been little less than an hour only. So I got my nice plate here. First thing we're going to do, which I just like to do to make it look nicer, is we're going to take a little bowl, use that as a mold for our rice. That one's actually kind of big. Let me grab a small one here. So we're going to get a serving of rice, and we're just going to use this bowl just to make a little mound, if you will. So we'll flip that right onto our plate like so. Then we're going to take a few of the beautiful grilled asparagus, and we're going to lay that right on top of the rice, just like that, just for presentation purposes. We'll put one more on there because it's delicious. We're going to take a couple pieces of our salmon. You can see the barbecue sauce has got a nice glaze to it. Going to be nice and sticky and smoky flavored, a little bit spicy. I'm going to put those right at the base of our plate like that. I'm going to take some of that beautiful corn salsa that we made, and we're just going to take some of that, and we're going to sprinkle it right on top of the salmon. And that is your seared salmon with roasted corn salsa, basmati rice, and some grilled asparagus from scratch, and just under an hour. And we also have some steamed corn here as an additional side. All that in less than an hour. If you like our videos, please subscribe to our page. And you can always visit us at Classic Catering of the Shores on Facebook.